Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being part of our listeners and viewers. We really thank you for that support. The biggest conversation that has surrounded Ruto's administration as we speak is what are the qualities of the leaders that William Ruto has appointed to help him achieve his dream. When William Ruto was campaigning, he gave us quite a lot of promises. As a president, it is a common practice in every country that you appoint men and women who you believe or whom you believe will help you drive your agenda, the bottom up economy, achieving food security, all those kind of things. But because of the mess or the crisis that Kenya seems to be in, people are asking, do we have the right people in the right docket? For example, the PSs, the cabinet secretaries, do we have the right people? Because it's now a conversation. There's a conversation about Machogu manning education, and especially when you compare them to Uhuru regime, the people whom Uhuru had put in place. If you compare what is happening in our schools, and you imagine how the late Professor Magoha would have handled the same situation, then it makes you even long that we would have Uhuru in place. There was a rumor that was going on that when Professor Magoha was appointed first to be in charge of was it exam, the NEC, and then he was brought back to man education, there was some rumor that he told Uhuru Kenyatta that if you want me to work, then do not try to control me. I'm a man who believes that I will, formulate policies to transform that very docket where you have appointed me because you have a reason. And Uhuru told him, okay, do your work. And that is why he could come up with some ruthless policies. Uhuru believed in him. When you compare that to William Ruto, then you realize that he's a what do we call hands-on man, someone who does not give you space. We are being told that, in fact, Machogu himself was telling us he's written very many letters to Treasury. Money, the capitation money is not coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you that foundation because I thought I had had it all. But with each passing day, William Ruto never ceases to amaze you. Now, there's something I was reading in the Standard that even as people criticize those William Ruto have appointed, he continues to give us what we call half-baked appointees, because right now people are being appointed into the positions of ambassadors and consulate in the other areas. I want you to listen to this. DRC Consul General nominee Charles Githinji equates GDP to population. Before I read further, I want you to get this. I just want you to understand this. The meaning of GDP, basically, GDP is gross domestic product. Now, gross domestic product is a monetary measure of the market value of all the final goods and services produced in a specific time period by a country or countries. GDP is more often used by the government of a single country to measure its economic wealth. I'm not an economist, but I remember the little commerce that I did. The key word is gross domestic product is a monetary measure. The goods and services that have been produced, the final, their monetary value, I think, is measured in terms of GDP. So I don't want to go further because I might even mess more than Githinji. So that is what GDP is. I was just reading for you. Now, during the interview by Parliament, He was asked whether he understands what the GDP is. Now, GDP, as you've seen, they are the monetary value of goods and services. So our very own man Githinji equated GDP to population. Let's read further. Let's read further because these are Ruto's nominees. Charles Githinji, President William Ruto's nominee for Consul General to the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, told a vetting committee on Thursday that the gross domestic product, GDP, equates to a country's total population. I've read to you that this is the monetary value of the final products, final goods and services that a country has produced. His response would send the room in shocked whispers, as much as it elicited reactions online. When people got this, I mean, it was funny. Responding to a query regarding the definition of GDP, Githinji told the National Assembly's Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee that GDP is the current population and the escalation of the population in a country. Ladies and gentlemen, much to the surprise of all and sundry, he added, I will go back to Foreign Affairs Academy to learn more about this job. At least he's ready to learn. His response, deemed surprising for a consul general nominee, underscored the expectation that such appointees should have fundamental economic knowledge, crucial for representing Kenyan commercial interest in Goma, if confirmed. Appointed by President Ruto last month, Githinji's potential responsibilities as a consul general include the formulation and execution of Kenya's foreign policy, safeguarding national interest, and advocating for the commercial interest of Kenyan citizens. That very last has really perturbed me. If his roles would also involve advocating for the commercial interest of a Kenyan citizen, yet he does not know the meaning of a GDP, then something is wrong. Basic requirements for the role include holding a degree and a minimum of 5 years of experience in a customer-facing capacity. While his educational background remains unclear, his prior employment as a petrol station attendant precedes his nomination. Very many people accuse us of being alarmists. But ladies and gentlemen, if we don't talk about this, there will be a mess. And then you will start scrutinizing, who is this Githinji who has been appointed? And you see, they call for this kind of headlines. Let me tell you something. When you are appointed, because he was appointed last month, he had a whole month of doing his preparation. It is like going for an interview, ladies and gentlemen, and you have been invited, you have applied, and then you are told that we are proud to announce to you that you have been nominated to come for the interview. You've been selected. I mean, it's upon you to do your research about the job, the background, the products, the services, the competitors of your products. I mean, you need to go and present yourself in a manner that the people who want to employ you will be convinced beyond reasonable doubt that this is the man. But when we have someone who has been nominated, and then you are facing a committee, defense foreign committee, and they want to scrutinize whether you are the man who is going to represent us in Congo, you are the image of our country, then you are asked what a GDP is, and you equate it to the population of a country, yet GDP is, I wish he would have even messed up, but talks about goods and services. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my first argument here would be he never prepares when he's going for such a crucial job. And then it would even mean that he does not take this job seriously. What else do I think? He was just rewarded. Because if he knew the value of what he wants, he would have done his research, gone there when he's well equipped. Even the people who are interviewing would have said, okay, sometimes you can vet someone and the manner in which he's replying or answering you, you are satisfied that this is the man. But when we have doubts at the initial stages, ladies and gentlemen, then there is trouble somewhere. If he cannot take the interview seriously, how then are we convinced that he's going to take seriously his job? Because it could be the man in which he was appointed. Maybe he was told, unajua wewe ni rafiki yangu bwana, ama wewe ni rafiki ya mimi ni rafiki ya brother yako, ama unajua brother yako aliniambia nikupatie mahali. Then with that same value, you don't know, you are rewarded. So you go there and you don't know the value of what you are doing. You are not prepared at all. Number two, it means that Ruto is just appointing people for the sake of appointing them. He does not look at the credentials or the real people who are supposed to be there. In fact, to date, if you ask me, there must be a cabinet reshuffle because we have people whom we feel do not fit to be in the places where they're supposed to be, even though some of them have been vindicated because it is William Ruto himself who is manning things. Wewe umewekwa tu hapo uonekane wewe ni waziri, but you are not really the man who is pulling the strings. Or maybe I just want to be fair enough. Could it be that he really excelled in the other questions, but on this one he flopped? But one thing that shocks me, ladies and gentlemen, even if you don't know the meaning of GDP, even if you ambush someone and you ask him what is a GDP, he might fumble, but at least he will be talking about goods and services. He might not know. He will be talking about the economy, but not people. That is where I find it very erroneous. He said he would be learning, but ladies and gentlemen, when you realize that someone is incompetent, incompetent does not mean that you are foolish. You could be a lawyer, but you're incompetent in the area that you have been given. As a lawyer, you could be appointed to be a constitutional minister. It will fit well with you because you understand. But you might find that you are a lawyer and you have been given maybe transport ministry, while we have engineers who understand what should be happening in the roads. So, most of our presidents will do this. They will be appointing you maybe based on the value of the money and contracts that will be in that particular docket. So mnakula pamoja. And you perform the list. I'm looking at our very sharp lawyer, Murkomen. By the way, I'm one person who believes that Murkomen is a sharp lawyer. But when you now see Murkomen, the way he's handling the transport ministry, we are losing lives. This is not just, people are dying every day. And he issues statement. The last time what he did was to tell us that he has banned the Probox and Wish cars from carrying people. But that is not enough. If this was Fred Matiang'i, I'm telling you, this mess would have not continued. But we are losing lives every day. And when you look at the lawyer himself, he's sharp, but he's unable to manage that docket. Look at Mithika Linturi, a very sharp lawyer, an international lawyer who represented Ruto at The Hague. But then, security is very challenging. He cannot do it. So when you are incompetent, it doesn't mean that you are foolish. It only means that you cannot man the very place where you've been given. This kind of embarrassment, and these are just the red alerts. I've always talked about red alerts in this channel. If you give someone just for the sake of giving, then there is trouble ahead. My problem with our parliament is that they are rubber stamping. They don't stand firm. They rubber stamp whatever Ruto wants. Did you know that Chiloba Ezra was suspended from the communications authority because of some corruption cases. But when William Ruto appointed him, I think he's going to US. Is it US? I don't know. I'm forgetting which country is going to. He has been cleared and vindicated by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, I mean. And you want to tell us that we are fighting corruption. These independent institutions do not stand. They don't enjoy the autonomy that they have been given by Kenyans in the constitution. They tell us you trust the process. But when you see such kind of people, it goes further just to corroborate what we have always said, that Ruto is not interested in the value. He's interested in just rewarding people. As long as you are there, whether you're doing a shoddy work or what, he knows very well that he will be managing by rhetorics and promises. Na uongo mingi tu. I can assure you that in the next few years, when you see a collapsed economy, a collapsed country, then you know why. The people who have been put in place to help William Ruto. And it's not that William Ruto does not know. He knows very well. That is why when doctors are on strike, you keep on throwing stones at Mahawincha, then Ruto comes and tells you, Atuna pesa. When there is no capitation fee in schools, we really criticize Machogu until he comes and tells us, oh, mimi nimeandika barua, but no one is responding. When you realize that there are very many cases which is being taken to court every now and then, and you wonder, do we have an attorney general who is advising the president? Attorney general comes up and tells us, I'm not being listened to, I'm being frustrated. And then you know, okay, so we have President William Ruto listening to William Ruto himself. I mean, I don't know what to think about Githinji. Maybe he's a good man. It's funny that the only thing that has been recorded that he was working at a petrol station. I don't know his credentials and level of education, but that is the presidential nominee to become our consul in Congo. Ladies and gentlemen, it sounds very trivial, but it is that serious if you look at it very critically. I don't know what to think, but that is my take.